Is there anything more American than ordering a pizza from a large corporation such as Pizza Hut and sitting back, sipping a cold brew from a large corporation, and then tuning into a huge corporation's broadcast of a sports game that has been turned into a huge capitalistic spectacle? Well, apparently for the one and only Donald Trump, it wasn't American enough. And many other Donald Trump nutsack guzzling freaks had the same idea. So much so that that Turning Point USA hosted its own halftime show with Kid Rock of all fucking people to perform. Who the fuck listens to Kid Rock, man? It's like 2026, bro. Who the fuck? I feel like as soon as you listen to Kid Rock, you automatically become attracted to your sister. You start eating giblets or giblets while drinking a lukewarm Budweiser, man. And you reek of toe cheese, naturally, because, do I even gotta fucking say? So, with all this controversy, was the performance even good? Personally, I don't listen to Bad Bunny music. It isn't for me. I'm a Latino too, but I don't really see the appeal personally. But this performance was pretty cool. It featured prominently the Puerto Rican culture, which I have no idea about, but I thought I could relate to it because a lot of the visuals and a lot of the messaging behind the performance was very much something that I feel like most Latinos or Latinas or Hispanic people could relate to. I found myself smiling through the performance as he did a very good job with the set design and these things represented. Besides showcasing the beauty of his culture, he also attacked problems that occur in Puerto Rico, most prominently the electricity problem that Puerto Rico often faces through the usage of electricity poles in his set. And on this point, Laura Mar-a-Lago face Loomer decided to comment on it and her tweet is genuinely just funny. She says that it's funny how they use electricity poles as Puerto Rico often doesn't have power. Well, Loomer, I guess you're sometimes smart because that was the whole fucking point. I think it's funny how her need to make a controversial or racist remark automatically just showed that her bigotry or her hatred of other people just leads into her accidentally kind of becoming woke. Also in the performance, I remember a tweet I read or something, I don't exactly remember. It addressed Trump's tweet, specifically the part where he calls the dancing gross and not for the eyes of children. Funny how the man who's potentially basically confirmed at this point on a list of guests that attended a notorious, sex trafficking ring or, sex traffickers island. That island, yes. So if anybody is to address what is appropriate for children and what's not, it certainly isn't somebody like Trump.
Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island.
Also, I personally don't even think the dancing was that gross. I've seen worse on TikTok, You could scroll through two times on TikTok and automatically find someone, just busting straight ass. No fucking nothing, no panties, no nothing, bro. They're just shaking straight ass. I don't know how many times I've been on TikTok and just out of nowhere I see a video of straight fucking, and I'm like, how the fuck is this allowed? So I think that children have more to worry about than the performance of Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. There was two guys grinding at each other at one point, and a lot of people took offense to that. You couldn't even see the grinding from what I could tell. There was a car door covering it. Also, Donald Trump said that the performance didn't reflect on the standards of success, creativity, or excellence in America, when I feel like Bad Bunny has done all these better than Trump. Bad Bunny came from a poor family in Puerto Rico and used his creativity to achieve success in America and worldwide. At this point, he's famous worldwide. While Trump was born with the silver spoon and only added on to his father's millions. He faked an injury to avoid military service. So if that's really American, then I might start doing that too. When World War III inevitably breaks out and I'm drafted, I'm gonna fake one, because if Donald Trump can do it, hey, I can too, because I'm a real American, just like Donald Trump. And then he said his classic catchphrase, the fake news one, because he called everybody who was gonna say the performance was great fake news. Donald Trump, I don't know how you're like in your 70s at this point, man. It's 2026, man. You can't call everything fake news. Sure, there's a lot of fake news out there, but I assure you that the faker the news, the more on the right it is than the left. I'm not saying that the left doesn't have fake news. It very much does. But let's be honest, there's nobody that fakes news more than the right. Anyways, the performance isn't like hugely positively received. For the most part, I do see positive reviews, which is good. But I also see negative reviews, such as from Jake Paul, who said that purposefully turning off the halftime show. Let's rally together and show big corporations they can't just do whatever they want without consequences, which equals viewership for them. You are their benefit. Realize you have power. Turn off this halftime show. A fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America. I cannot support that. Jake Paul, I'm sorry to tell you, but Puerto Ricans are Americans. The United States is owners, or they hold control over Puerto Rico, which is a big deal, by the way. Puerto Rico is yet to have voting rights, and a lot of Puerto Ricans want to be free. Bad Bunny himself is part of those who wants to be free from America, and I don't blame him. Who the fuck wants to be under America when it comes to imperialism? I mean, this is still imperialism in 2026, which is crazy, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And then his brother, Logan Paul, he said, I love my brother, but I don't agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. And first and foremost, congratulations to Logan Paul. You had a W take for the first time in a long time. And then Jake Paul later apologized for the tweet a day after or some shit, and he said that he doesn't know what happened because he loves Bad Bunny. It just sounds like you're backtracking again, man. It sounds like maybe Logan Paul sat you down and said, hey brother, shut the fuck up, apologize for that horrible and just gross tweet. One thing I do wish the performance overall did touch on a bit more that I didn't really see it touch was the problem of ice. I'm not gonna get too into it, but we all know that ice is something that's going on right now in the United States, especially right now for people like the Hispanic community and the Latino community and anybody. This is just horrible times that we live in where people can be targeted just like that. We obviously saw that in like Minnesota, for example. That was a huge spectacle for obvious reasons. It was horrible what happened there. I wish that Bad Bunny did touch on it a bit more, but overall I don't think it was too big of a deal. I think that the performance was still great, especially that ending where he named every country that's part of the Americas. I think that was beautiful, and I think him saying that we are America is beautiful after that, because I mean we are. I don't know how much more we can really say it as on the left, because I think people on the right need to say it more, because we should be celebrating each other. I know that there's people out there who are bad eggs, or there's bad eggs on each side of everywhere, but I think overall we should be celebrating each other's differences instead of trying to hate on each other for them. It just pains me to see that this is kind of what the point that we've gone to, and in my opinion it really comes down to Donald Trump trying to change the topic away from the Epstein files. I don't think that's even too big of a conspiracy at all. I really think that's just the truth. I think Donald Trump is constantly trying to change the subject away from the Epstein files, and eventually, the Epstein files thankfully do keep coming back, because they should. I think people that were in those files should be easily arrested right now. And Donald Trump was mentioned in the newest release of the files many times. I'm not going to get into that, but regardless, this was just a short little video that I wanted to talk about the performance. Again, the performance was good. I think a lot of people on the right are being kind of silly about it. Kid Rock's performance was ass, by the way. I didn't even really get to talk about that, but just know it was fucking ass. You can go watch it yourself. It was horrible. I don't know if it was a real tweet, but I'm pretty sure Nick Fuentes said that it was ass. I don't know if that was a fake tweet or not, but if you got Nick Fuentes, the fucking Mexican Nazi, saying that it was ass, then do I gotta say more? Again, thank you for watching. If you did, that's about it, and I'll see you next time.